Hi everyone, George here from Locked On Art, and welcome to part 4 of my AH-1Z Viper full build. In this video I will be completing the model by finishing the canopy, adding the rotors, and fitting all of the weapon ordnance. Starting with the canopy, I need to take the clear parts from the sprue and clean them up. But first I would like to announce an exciting giveaway. I've teamed up with people over at BenQ to give away some of their ideaCam S1 Plus cameras, worth over $150 US. These cameras feature a dual mode webcam and workspace camera with auto angle correct, 15 times magnification, high quality macro photos and filming, and it's detachable from the base for a freehand mode. For a better look, check out my previous video shot entirely with this camera, or head over to the BenQ website for the full specs. Both links will be provided in the description. To enter the competition, all you need to do is to fill out a short Google questionnaire and also post photos of your models or projects on Instagram using the hashtags createwithideacam, modelmaking, and scale model. And that's it. One winner will be drawn every 50 entries, so the more people that enter, the more cameras that will be given away. Full details will be down below, so good luck everyone, and now back to the video. Now before I start working on them, I'm going to need to mask them up on the actual clear parts so they don't get scratched, and it also gets them ready for painting. To help with this, I have a set of masks from Edard, an inside and an outside sheet. Some of the masks don't line up like here. I'll correct it by gently cutting it with a scalpel. I've noticed that the canopy windows have a large black rubber seal going around on the inside. To replicate this, I have gone back and cut the inside masks slightly smaller, so when it is painted, it will leave a black outline. I'm also cutting these plastic supports, and I'll be replacing them later on. I'm going to tape the canopy pieces to the frame so I can glue them together. Once they are set, I can take it off as one piece and work on it as a whole. For the hydraulic pistons, I'm going to replace them with brass rods and tubes. I think they will look far cleaner and more intricate. The tube I have here is an outer diameter of 0.8mm and an inner diameter of 0.4mm. Here they are side by side with the kit parts. I'm also making some brackets using some spare parts from an old photo etch set. The pistons will attach to these and make a good strong connection with the canopy. Moving on to the hoses and connection boxes, I'm using styrene and spare parts to make the boxes. I've also pre-drilled holes into them for the hoses. The hoses are copper wire inserted into electrical wire casing. The hose on the left side is long and it is attached to the frame using cable ties. To make them, I've cut pieces of wire casing and attached them to a small bit of styrene. I'll glue these on first and then feed the hose through them. Another couple of hoses go from the connection box down to the cockpit. These are also attached to the frame. Moving on to the small fixtures, I'm going to install some hooks made from some brass photo etch sprue. Also adding a couple of rivets to hold them in place. For the grab handles, I'm using brass sheet and wire for the loops. I'm doubling over the sheet to make it appear thicker like the fabric used for the handle. For the loops, I'm twisting wire around some thin tweezers and then cutting it off at the join. To attach it to the frame, I'm using some very thin strips of brass sheet. I'm also adding rivets to these as well. These switches have to go at the very front of the canopy. I'm going to add some cabling for these. For the door handles, the kit has only provided the outside parts, so I'm going to have to scratch make the inside ones, as well as the armour plating. For the gunner's door, I'm using a brass rod, bending it into shape, and then filing it flat. I'm going to drill a hole through the door so I can connect the outside handle to it. Here is a view from the side so you can see how it works. The pilot's door handle is much the same. I'm still using a brass rod to connect to the outer handle, but the inner one is more like a lever, so I'm making it from a styrene strip. The armour plates I have cut out from some styrene sheet. I will install these once everything is painted. Now the canopy is finished, I'll move on to the rotors, starting with the tail rotor. I'm replacing this rod with brass, as the kit part doesn't actually reach into the hole it's meant to go into. I'm going to be adding all of the wiring to this, and I need to drill some holes for the connections. I've also made some brass loops for holding the wire down. There is a tube over here that 4 wires come out of and connect to different parts of the tail. I'm making this with a brass tube and I have some copper wires coming out of it. The wires will be held down using these brass rings stuck to a little piece of styrene. Now onto the actual blade assembly. Moving on to the main rotors. These pieces here in the middle are actually separate pieces, so I'm going to cut them away from the base and take some of the plastic out. There is also some wiring in the middle that extends out to the blades. I'm creating that using some brass rods, and I've also pre-drilled some holes into the base. For the sensor on the nose, the kit part has been moulded as a solid piece. I'm going to open it up with a Dremel and then add a brass cross section. Moving on to the weapon ordnance, I'm going to be adding the large rocket pods, the Hellfire missiles with their rack, and the AIM-9 Sidewinder missiles. With the rockets and the missiles done, that's the model finished as much as it can be before it's painted. This bird at the 1/35 scale is an impressive beast, and it's allowed me to pack in as much detail as I could, especially in the cockpit. This was a challenging build, but I'm very pleased with how it came out, and I'm loving how big and menacing it looks. Please subscribe if you haven't done so already so you don't miss part 5, Painting and Weathering. And until next time, thanks very much for watching.